Hi, friends. Welcome back to this very early edition of Live at the Roxy. We're up early today because I am filming for Rotten Tomatoes today, Binge Battle. You guys can watch that at 1 p.m. live, so I'm only going to do a quick half-hour show before I jump over there. And then after that, I'm taping a match, so I was unable to do this later because then it would be so much later for you guys. And then I have a meeting tonight. So all the things I was like, okay, I'm just going to do a quick half-hour show at noon because I told you guys I'd go up all the days. And that is what I am doing. But we still have a ton of stuff to talk about today, including Brett Hankinson, Miles Cosgrove, and Jonathan Mattingly. Arrest the cops that fucking murdered Breonna Taylor. We're going to keep talking about that on this show. Sorry that I didn't give you guys advance notice that we were going up early. Hopefully you got the link. And if not, if you're on my Patreon, I put it there. And if not, if you follow me on Twitter, then I said something there. So tried to inform everybody that I could. Yeah. Guys, I saw Mulan last night. And I can't wait to talk about it today with you guys. The review embargo is up as of 9 a.m. this morning. So I can officially tell you guys how I felt about Mulan. On top of that, The Rock and his entire family tested positive for COVID. So what does that mean? We'll break that down. Also, Steve Nash is going to be the head coach of the Nets. I think a lot of people were really excited at first. And then this struck up a conversation about racism in America and in sports that we will be talking about on this show as well. Yeah. And like I said, don't forget after this to go over to watch Rotten Tomatoes Binge Battle hosted by Mark Ellis. And I'm going to be fighting with Jay Washington, all people who are friends of this show, about The Boys. So we are prepping for The Boys season 2. So we're doing a battle about The Boys season 1. We're battling some really fun questions today, from the biggest what the fuck moment to the best character and all that great stuff. So please tune into that. Let's see what's going on in the Super Chat and the Streamlabs before we move forward. Although, again, I think it's probably going to be a very intimate show today, as I didn't let anybody know that I was officially going to be going up early. Sorry, Gilly. Sorry. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? All right. Spidey Sensei says, holy hoops and cleavage Batman. We're not worthy of all this hotness. Thank you. I always wear the hoops. I don't always show this much cleavage, but it's just kind of the way the shirt was cut. I've been loving wearing white as long as it's still summer. Yeah. Pink Sweets, is it on YouTube? It's on Facebook. It's on Rotten Tomatoes Facebook. They might upload it to their YouTube, but I'm pretty sure where it is live is on Facebook. So there's that. I believe even that our dear friend Jay Washington just tweeted it out. So if he did, then it would be easy to find. Yeah. Oh, he did, but he didn't put out the link. Okay. Well, there's that. Did I do that? Okay. Okay. All right. So let's start by talking about, let's just get into the Mulan review, guys. Get into the Mulan review. Here's what I tweeted out, and then I'll further break down this tweet. But for anybody who didn't see, I said, Mulan's a badass. This movie's very good. It makes you want to embrace your best and truest self. The tone is different than the OG Mulan. It isn't ever goofy, and it doesn't have our favorite songs, but it has heart, and his fierce woman power baby at Disney's Mulan is worth the wait. So if you guys have questions, let me know. Super Chat, Streamlabs. If you have questions specifically about Mulan, obviously this is a spoiler-free review. But in general, here's what I thought about Mulan. I thought it was really good. Does it hold up to the original? Am I like, this movie is as good at or better than the original Mulan? Probably not. Not that it has to be a comparison, but of course that's the natural instinct to compare. And that movie like really affected my childhood, my view on myself being a woman, on being a warrior, on being fierce. And I think it's one of Disney's top 3 best, or at least one of my top 3 favorites, up there with Aladdin and Lion King. But the messaging in Mulan is so incredible. And so that messaging holds true in this version, which is why I really like it. This version was different. However, at its core, it represented the same thing, which I thought was really important. Did I miss some of the silliness and goofiness? Yes, there's like very few jokes in this, very few. This movie takes itself pretty seriously, and I understand why. Also, did I miss it being a musical? I got to say, I kind of did. It wouldn't have fit the theme of this movie, though. It would have been out of place here. And we did have undertones of our favorite scoring. So that was nice to see. And it popped in at ideal moments where you really were like rooting for somebody. And then you could tell what they were playing in the background, which was really great. So that worked very well. I thought it was incredibly well acted. There was the dialogue was great, but there were some like iffy lines, but it is still a kid's movie, or it's still not a kid's movie, but it still needs to be accessible for a younger audience. So that makes sense. It was so nice to see. I watched this from 1 to 3 in the morning. Thought the length was actually perfect. It's an hour and 55 minutes, but with the credits, without them, it's probably about an hour and 40 minutes. I was really here for it. I've been waiting for this movie a long time. I know you guys have 2, and it's dropping tomorrow. And I got to say, I think it is worth the money. I know that I did not pay. Honestly, I did not pay for it because they sent me a screener. But if I knew the level of goodness it was, I would probably spend the $30 that it is on the movie to watch it now, as opposed to waiting. Probably I would split it with a couple of friends if you can, do an outdoor screening, or if you live with people who you already are exposed to during COVID. I do wish I got to see this on the big screen. However, it was still pretty great to watch on my smaller screen. Still definitely worth it. It didn't affect my viewing experience that much, although some of the landscapes I think would have been so incredible on the major screen. I would have loved to see that. And, maybe at some point they will put it in theaters, or we will have the opportunity to see it in the theater. But for now, yeah, this was really good. Definitely like moved my soul. And there's this thing in the movie about loyal, brave, and true. And I hope that's not a spoiler. That's part of Mulan in general, but loyal, brave, and true. And I really live by those 3 things. Those are like the 3 most important things to me, honestly. Loyal, I always say in any relationship, that's like numero uno to me. I had like a joke with my ex-boyfriend about it, because the extent that I used to always say it, but like loyal is everything to me. In friendships and relationships, being loyal means the world, and that can take all different forms. Loyal obviously means being on the same page about your intimacy, about what you guys are doing with yourselves, with other people. Loyal means having somebody's back and being supportive of them. Loyal means all of those things. Brave is a really important one, especially during this time that we're going through something that's kind of a nightmare for the entire world. We have to be brave. We have to grin and bear it. We have to make it to the next day. We have to move forward. We have to fight the good fight, especially with COVID and BLM and the anti-Semitism being on the rise. We have to be brave, and we have to be strong there. And then true. I know a lot of millennials say it like, live your truth, but I believe in the truth. I don't believe in lying. You guys know, no matter what it means. And it's funny enough, I was just doing Instagram stories about something, and I thought one thing and then it wasn't true, and I said something else, whatever. Like, I will always answer honestly to the best of my ability and be as true as I can. So loyal, brave, and true is where this movie is at. And it really kind of like lit a fire under my butt and did exactly what I think it was intending on doing and made me feel the way that I think it was trying to make me feel. So could you find more issues with this movie? Yes. At times, can it be a little corny, a little drawn out? Yes. But at its core, I really believe that its concepts were there. Its performances were right. The themes, the scenery, all of that was great. The costumes. So there was even one part of the movie, one character in the movie I really didn't like. But by the end, I was like, oh, I see why they did that. I see what they were going for here. And I kind of changed my tune on it. So that's my thoughts on Mulan. Again, let me know if you guys have any questions in the super chat or the Streamlabs specifically about Mulan. And if not, I'm going to move forward. Matthew Gold in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Star says, looking great, Roxy. Did you see the new Bond trailer? Definitely has me excited. I watched a little bit of it, but you guys know I've only ever seen one Bond movie. That's GoldenEye. I thought it was okay. So I'm just not the person to say, really. I guess I'll watch this movie, but like definitely coming in behind. When's it even come out? I don't know. Glenn Caesar in here says, hello, Roxy. I'll send us an SL. Oh, Streamlabs with the link in a bit. But FYI, Binge Battles on YouTube today. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Glenn, for letting us know. I thought they did it on Facebook. I guess it's on YouTube, which is awesome. It will be really fun. I love fighting with Jay. He's my homie. I love the way Mark Ellis hosts. He's my homie. I love the boys. Jay and I have some interesting answers. So the whole thing should be very fun. Rather fun. Okay. Moving forward, because we, again, have to do a very abridged show today. Is that the right word? Who knows? The Rock and his family tested positive for COVID. So, interestingly enough, as I'm talking about that, I see a lot of you guys have put in the chat that Robert Pattinson tested positive for COVID, which I hate to phrase it like this, but that seems like a bigger deal at the moment because The Rock is seemingly on the other side of this right now. And Robert Pattinson has now halted the Batman production. So we can talk about both these things kind of as one. But let's start with The Rock, as that was my initial intention. And then we'll talk about Robert Pattinson and what that means. Thank you to the chat for letting me know, because I guess that was announced less than an hour ago and I missed it. All the major publications, USA Today, Yahoo News, ABC, Guardian, CNN, New York Times, they were all talking about The Rock testing positive for COVID and also his family. So we'll just look at the New York Times article on this one. But if you guys have different publications you'd rather read, totally understand. This one says Dwayne Johnson tests positive for coronavirus, urging fans to wear masks. The actor and former wrestler known as The Rock said on Instagram that his entire family tested positive. Quote, it has nothing to do with politics. Wear your mask, end quote. So The Rock tested positive recently. He's 48. They said he had become infected around 2.5 weeks ago from very close family friends. He called it one of the most challenging and difficult things we have ever had to endure as a family, but added that he and his family were now on the other end of it and were healthy and no longer contagious. While the symptoms were mild for his youngest daughters, Jasmine and Tiana, Mr. Johnson said he and his wife had a rough go with the virus. Mr. Johnson also urged people to wear masks. He said, quote, it baffles me that some people out there, including some politicians, will take this idea of wearing masks and make it part of a political agenda. It has nothing to do with politics. Wear your mask. Mr. Johnson added that his mother, who had part of her lungs removed before recovering from lung cancer, still wears a mask every day. His announcement comes as coronavirus cases increases around the world, with over 26 million people infected and at least 862,000 people dead from the virus, according to the New York Times database. Oh, God. So this was, similar to like when you see Tom Hanks. The Rock, it doesn't even feel like a real human to us sometimes. Like he is this God among men. He is this living legend. And him getting COVID is like Scary as fuck, because him feeling the effects. Do we know anybody who works harder than The Rock? Do we know anybody in better shape than The Rock? Do we know anybody who pounds the pavement harder than The Rock? Like, this is somebody who like should not be feeling the effects in his 40s, but he is, and this virus just affects different people differently, and you never effing know. So really frustrating and scary that people are still not wearing masks. I don't get it, and I will never get it, and I don't even know how to reason with somebody who refuses to wear a mask. So there's that element of it. Also scary that his entire family got it. That's challenging. I'm glad to hear that they're doing okay, and they're on the other side of this right now. Who was announced to have COVID today was Robert Pattinson as the lead character in the Batman. He is obviously playing Batman. Him having COVID, of course, would halt the production. So let's talk a little bit about this. This article is coming from Vanity Fair, but again, a lot of publications are talking about it. They said Robert Pattinson has tested positive for coronavirus, causing filming the Batman to be halted just days after the superhero drama resumed work at studios outside of London. Warner Brothers could not comment on any individual worker's health, sharing only this statement. A member of the Batman production has tested positive for COVID-19 and is isolating in accordance with established protocols. Filming is temporarily paused. Vanity Fair confirmed through other highly placed sources that Pattinson was the individual who became sick. The production previously shut down, along with most other entertainment industry work, back in March when the quarantine lockdown first hit. Pattinson's representative did not immediately return a request for comment. This is bound to happen as productions are starting back up. Let's all just hope that Pattinson's okay. I'm sure he will be. He's young. He's getting the best help he can, I'm sure. I'm sure he feels a lot of pressure on himself to get better. I'm sure he feels really bad for being sick, which, like, we don't even know. How can you help it? Just really, I feel awful for him, for everybody who's on production. I wonder how he must have gotten tested when he started the set, and he must have not had it. So then I wonder how he got it. This is like one of those things where you can get it in so many different ways. And I'm sure they were keeping him in a relative bubble. So you don't even know. It could be from the hotel room service. It could be from another person who was on set. It could be from a friend or somebody visiting. You just don't know. And honestly, it's not even mine to speculate, but very concerning. I know that he's isolating. Of course, they had to shut the set down. I wonder if anybody else on the set is going to pop up with the virus as well, because we know sometimes it takes up to 2 weeks for other people to feel symptoms. I'm sure everybody's getting tested again, probably every day, until they see who has it and who doesn't. Our friend James Lott, who we love on this show, is in the chat right now. He said, I had a cousin die from it, and I know folks who have had it. James Lott, yep, I've had people die and know people who have it currently as well. Scary as hell. It's a newer virus, and we don't know everything. That's absolutely true. James Lott, and something that I keep telling people, it's like when we introduce new medications or new things happen, we don't know the long-term effects of things. We still don't even know the long-term effects of cell phones, and those have been here for a couple decades now. So how could we possibly know when it comes to this? Glenn Caesar in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strier says, hello, Roxy. Love ya. As always, RJ, thanks for hanging out with us today on a busy one for you. I hope you and the Rockstars band can have a happy, sunny, and fuck yeah news-filled rest of your Thursday. And then you put the link to Binge Battle. All right, let me see if I can copy and paste this and put it in the chat right now. Here we go. Thank you for doing that. So again, today, 1 p.m., I will be battling my dear friend Jay Washington, being judged by my other dear friend Mark Ellis, as we talk about The Boys Season 1 and argue those things out in preparation for The Boys Season 2, which I believe is dropping tomorrow. Crazy. Here's the link for that, if this is correct, which is from Glenn, so I'm sure it is. Let's get to a couple super chats. 156 Impulse says, hearing that The Rock has COVID made me sad, and it sucks. And now Robert has it. I hate 2020. Please wear masks. Hi, Roxy. You look great. Hugs. Thanks, 156 Impulse. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, they're telling us, like, it's not that wearing a mask means that you 100% won't get it, but it definitely decreases your chances of spreading it or getting it. So why the fuck wouldn't you? I know I've said it a million times, but I don't understand people. Don't understand. Orlando Orrego says, I wonder if the delay will cost the studio. Sucks for Pattinson. Wish him and The Rock a fast recovery. I think, Orlando, this is nothing to wonder. 1,000% this will cost the studio money. Time is money. This we know. But there's no choice. What are they going to do? Throw them on set anyway? Work around them? They don't know who else has been infected. I mean, like, of course, right now, you don't just stop paying the actors. They still have to be on set, on location. So they're getting paid, but they're not shooting. It's going to extend the shoot. Same thing with the crew. Definitely this costs the studio money. If they had any location fees, for sure. There's no way that this doesn't cost the studio money, but just one of those risks that you have to take during COVID. If you are going to be on set, you have to know that you might have to spend more money. You might have to close down. And especially because no insurance companies are insuring these sets, the producers are putting that cost, insuring that cost on their chin. And so they don't want to deal with the insurance that it would take if something really bad happens to somebody. I mean, it's just, even like, if we're not even talking about morally, if we're just talking about what's good for business, it's not good for business. It's not good for business. So yeah, my heart goes out to The Rock and his family, and I'm glad that they seemingly have made a speedy recovery. To Robert Pattinson and anybody else who may or may not have been infected on the set or otherwise. Thinking about you guys all. Anybody in here, we've had multiple rock stars, multiple of you guys who have gotten COVID, a lot of you guys who have recovered or in the process of recovering. And just thinking about you guys during this fucked up and crazy time. So yeah, everybody send bunnies and well wishes to our fellow rock stars and nerd community, because this is a tough one. All right, moving forward, let's talk about Steve Nash. So Steve Nash, I feel like at this point, a lot of people really, truly adore Steve Nash, even not major sports fans. He's kind of an icon, and he's a two-time NBA MVP, and now he's going to be joining the Brooklyn Nets as their head coach. He's also an NBA Hall of Famer. He's amazing on the court, and we've heard a lot of positive things about him becoming the coach. However, there was definitely some negative things that were said, not specifically about him, but just about what this means and why there's a racism issue here. Again, not specifically with Steve Nash, but this is something Stephen A. Smith said. I haven't even quite listened to this yet, but it says, I love Steve Nash, and let's listen. It's 3 minutes long, so we won't listen to the whole thing, but we can just start it and see.
One of the toughest positions that I've ever had to take and in my career on First Take. And here is why. I want to first state that Steve Nash has no coaching experience.
That's true.
But if you talk about an outlier, an individual that is just special on so many levels, it is Steve Nash. Not just
Everyone
as a player, but his mentorship to some degree with Steph Curry. The brothers that he has looked out for and supported when Quentin Richardson was his teammate, and he took money off his plate to make sure Quentin Richardson got paid.
Yeah.
When he had his man Steven Jackson, his former teammate, his teammate at the time, living with him and took him in and looked out for him. The respect that he has around the league, his smarts, his intelligence.
So pausing for a second, it's very clear that Stephen A. Smith wants to start this by explaining and showing and sharing. This doesn't have to do with specifically Steve Nash, because he clearly has a lot of respect and admiration for him. Let's continue.
Basketball IQ. Steve Nash is a sensational dude. And if anybody deserves this opportunity, absent the experience that obviously he has as a coach, it is him. It happened for Steve Kerr, who had never coached on any level before. But he took over Golden State, and look at the job that he's done.
Amazing
Steve Nash
job.
is widely respected and loved by a whole bunch of people in the NBA, black, white, and beyond.
And fans.
Congratulations to him. He deserves it. I get it. But this ain't about him, what I'm about to say. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way around this. This is white privilege. This does not happen for a black man. No experience whatsoever on any level as a coach, and you get the Brooklyn Nets job. I know that Kyrie and KD have both signed off on this. I know they both support this move.
All right, pausing for 1 second. So this is where a lot of people get the term white privilege confused. You are born white, you have white privilege. That's how it works. I have white privilege. My white friends, my white family, anybody who's white who has white privilege, because you get treated differently just for having white skin. And so when he calls this white privilege, he's not saying that Steve Nash is doing this by choice or that he is asking for special favors or consideration. He's saying that this wouldn't happen to somebody who's black, which is what makes it white privilege. Now, him saying that the players have signed off on it is an interesting thing to go down. So let's keep listening.
But I'm thinking about a champion that is Ty Lue, passed up. I'm thinking about a guy who built the foundation for the Golden State Warriors in Mark Jackson, passed up. I'm thinking about the years that Sam Cassell has served as an assistant, first in the nation's capital in D.C., and now with the Los Angeles Clippers, passed up. And it's for a guy, my God, one of the best guys you could possibly meet in your life, and may do a fantastic job.
Yeah, he really
But
might.
a guy that has no experience whatsoever. In these times where we're making all of this noise about social justice, I got news for y'all, Molly and Max. I have said this to people on numerous occasions right here on this show. Yes, that was the tipping point. George Floyd's killing, his murder, violence against black men who are unarmed.
Pausing here because I saw a lot of people tweeting that wasn't relevant. And I think it couldn't be more relevant. It's all relevant when right now we're in the biggest racial fight of our lives. And I don't mean we, like you guys know I'm a white Jew, but I'm fighting for my black brothers and sisters. And I think it's completely relevant that he brings this up. I also think that, again, he's going above and beyond to share that he thinks that Steve Nash is an excellent guy, and this is not specifically about him. So continuing.
All of that stuff is true, but the frustration, the protest, and all of these things that you've seen in the streets throughout America, emanating from the black community and disenfranchised communities, is that proverbial glass ceiling, and the fact that it breeds a level of frustration that we can't even put in the words sometimes. You just want to scream to the high heavens. How the hell does this always happen for somebody else other than us? Why is it that we have to be twice as good to get half as much? Why is it that no matter what we do and how hard we work and how we go through the process and the terrain of everything, somehow, some way, there's another excuse to ignore that criteria, to ignore those credentials, and instead bypass it and make an exception to the rule for someone other than us. So I'm depressed right now because I have to bring that up.
Okay, so we listened to the entire thing. And here's the thing. You guys in the chat seem a little torn on this. You don't have to agree that Steve Nash shouldn't have gotten the job. I don't even think Stephen A. Smith thinks that Steve Nash should not have gotten the job. I think he's talking about the fact that there are other viable options and candidates that wouldn't have gotten the job if they were exactly who Steve Nash was, but didn't have white skin. And a lot of people think that this was a really strong and good take. A lot of people think that this was not a strong and good take. I just think it's important to know and acknowledge the white privilege of the situation. And I am somebody who I appreciate what Stephen A. Smith does, which is mentioning the hard things often. I don't think that he's coming after Nash in any kind of way. And I believe that, honestly, based on knowing a little bit of Nash's heart, that he probably agrees with what Stephen A. Smith is saying to some extent. So Steve Nash may be the very best coach. And I also don't think it's fair to say he has no experience, because you don't become a multi-time MVP and MVP winner and in the Hall of Fame and all that stuff if you don't have any experience. Obviously, part of experiencing being a coach is being a player and being a mentor. So I don't think it's fair to say he has no experience, but compared to the other people who have been assistant coaches and coaching in that way, I think that he does have a point here. So again, you don't have to agree with it. I think a lot of people are very excited for Steve Nash. I think they're excited to see what he does for the team. I think that he might be able to do some incredible things, but I do think it's important to recognize and note what the conversation is around about this, which is like a lot of other people being passed up. And if this was the first, second, third, fourth, 5 millionth time, then maybe not worth mentioning, but it's just happened over and over again. So I definitely think it's worth it. Also in here, a lot of people talking about me going up early. I know I've got binge battle. I got to get off here in like 2 minutes anyway. Also, the boat himself, Brad Gilmore in the house. He just said, "Oh, we talking about basketball." And then I think he left us. He was like, "Oh no, I'm not here for this." Brad, it's the freaking best. He's amazing. Okay. As I get out of here, wow, a lot of you guys are torn in the chat. It's interesting. It's a very polarizing conversation, and I totally get it. As I get out of here, just letting you guys know that I know that this is a really, really challenging time. We're talking about a lot of people getting COVID. We're talking about racial discrimination and arguments. We're talking about arresting the cops that killed Breonna Taylor and that not going to justice yet. We're talking about even Mulan, which deals with sexism and all different themes. It's a fucking tough time. I'm here. You guys are here for each other. And I love that. I love the Rockstar community. We're going to keep having to, like Mulan teaches us, be brave, get through this time together. No other way to do it. I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m., live at the Roxy. Oh, Brad didn't leave us. Guys, look, he's a true rock star. He wanted to stay. And yeah, please come over right now to Rotten Tomatoes to watch Binge Battle as I take on Jay Washington as we fight about the boys and Mark Ellis judges the fuck out of us. Brad says, I think that Stephen A. Smith has a great point. Me too. And I can't even say me too anymore without it meaning me too. I just mean me as well. Much love to you guys. Make your beds. Stay strong. Stay safe. All those great things. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.